Welcome everybody! We are Grillin and Chillin with cheese today, and I'm Cheese Whiz Gina and going to take you on this journey of kind of one of my favorite times of the year with cheese, summertime. Because I know we all think of cheese just melted in a grilled cheese sandwich, but there are so many things that you can do on a grill with cheese that's really fun and amazing, and that's what we're going to do today. So I thank you for joining us on our virtual tasting number 10. So it's been a fun ride to do these tastings, and they're just going to get kind of wackier and crazier as we go. So I hope you enjoyed them as well. So let's start with what I think is going to take the longest. So everybody that bought the whole kit today, I encourage you maybe to watch and then go and make all this, because then you can do it at your own pace, because we're going to be cooking a lot of cheese and you can't eat it all at once. And cheese likes to be eaten warm and melty. So that would be my advice. But I'll kind of take you on the tour of the order that I think is best to do. And that's going to be starting with, if you bought the whole kit, Camembert. So Camembert, typically you can bake it in the oven. If you've ever heard it baked en cru, that is baked in bread shell, and we are just going to grill it today, and it makes it just super awesome. You don't need a gas grill. You could do it over charcoal. You can even do this, let's say you're at a fire pit at the beach. This is super fun. What we're doing today, you could do on a fire pit at the beach, over coals, amazing. But the key to, I think, grilling Camembert is to take the box, take the cheese out of the box, and we're gonna get the box wet, okay? So what we wanna do is dampen the box. So what I did was just get a big bowl of water, and I'm gonna put the Camembert box in there just for a few minutes, because I want the box wet so it doesn't catch fire completely when we put it on the grill later. It's a very good tip that we learned the very first time we did this. So while we're talking and getting started, put your Camembert box in water if you are playing along, okay? And then why don't we go ahead and prep the Camembert so that it's ready to go once we are ready to grill. And then obviously take the plastic and the paper off of the Camembert to start. This one, Camembert, it's a cheese that made famous in France, in Normandy, in that region of France. And the best story of Camembert is that it was served to the troops, the French troops in World War I. So this was like a staple of their diet then. And I think it's as good now as it is then. It's a beautiful cheese, mushroomy notes, bloomy rind, etc., etc. For grilling a Camembert, you don't need it to be really super ripe. Like if you're gonna eat it plain, you really want that unctuousness and creaminess that a ripe Camembert might have. But when you're grilling or baking a Camembert, my tip is to go for something a little younger. And how you can tell is if it's really firm. And this one is. Those tend to bake and melt better in this situation. So I say go for a younger, firmer Camembert. So what I'm gonna do straight away is just kind of cut the top rind off, because you don't have to do this. You could just have a plain baked Camembert, but I like to top mine with something. And what that something is entirely up to you. I'm feeling a little savory today, so I'm going to top it with this super sharp and spicy sriracha that we have. This is a San Diego company called Baby Clydesdale, and it's kind of a husband-wife team that make this, and it's sriracha, but fresh ingredients. It's really super fresh. It's because I want to get this zesty taste, okay? If you have fig jam at home, use fig jam. You like honey, use honey. You have fresh berries or something like that, throw that on there. Whatever mood strikes you, that's what you can use to top, okay? So I'm gonna put the Camembert on a piece of foil, okay? Because we are going to cook it in the foil so that the cheese doesn't ooze out of the box and all over the grill. So we're gonna start like this, and then I'm going to take my Baby Clydesdale sriracha, and I'm just gonna top the Camembert with some of that, okay? I'm gonna do quite a bit because this is a big piece of cheese. It's 8 ounces, half a pound of cheese. It requires lots of sauce. So I'm just gonna coat it like that. It doesn't have to be fancy. If you're out camping, whatever, it doesn't have to be fancy. Use your fingers, put it on there. And we're just gonna wrap it like that. You don't need to close it shut. Just kind of cover it up, okay? We're gonna set it aside. So while our box is still soaking, because again, I want this to be moist, I'm gonna tell you about the cheese plate, because while we're grilling, you wanna be chilling with the cheese. So what we prepared for you today, if you're joining along, 3 cheeses that invoke grilling, smoke, summer to me. That's what we picked today. So I'm gonna go first with one that's kind of like in a long spear shape on your plate. And the names of these are on the lid of your plate. This one's called Idiazabal. And it's spelled like Idiazabal, but if you're really super cool, want to be a cheese nerd, you would pronounce it Idiazabal, because it comes from the Catalonia area of Spain, and they pronounce the Z's like a th. So Idiazabal. This essentially is Manchego cheese, if you're familiar with that, famous sheep milk cheese of Spain, but it's slightly smoked. They cold smoke it, and you can see on the rind it's kind of got a golden hue, and if you smell it, you'll get a hint of smoke. Who doesn't like smoke with a grill? So we think Idiazabal is a great grilling and summer cheese. Great to munch, really nutty, super delish. If you want something a little more rich and super wild looking, this one, you can't mistake it. Looks like a piece of mosaic glass. It's called Cahill Quarter. This one comes from Ireland, and it is cheddar pressed in porter beer, like a Guinness beer. So what you're seeing are the cheddar curds. You know, all cheese starts as curds and whey. The cheddar curds are just pressed in porter beer into the shape of cheese. It's really delicious. This one's subtle. Like this one to me kind of has cocoa notes, little chocolate, all those things that you get from a porter beer. Subtle, but just a fun nibbler, okay? Then in a little chunk on your plate, this is your burger cheese. This is Quebec Vintage Cheddar. It's aged 3 to 4 years, and it comes from Quebec, Canada. Traditional, sharp cheddar. This one, easy eating, great for melting, classic summer cheese. Hence, we put it on the plate. We've got some palate cleansers on the plate for you as well. Spicy soppressata, you're not going to miss that one. You're going to see the spices in that meat. It is hot. It's hotter than the sriracha, I think. If you put them together, if you're a spice freak, try that. It's really super good. Too much spice? Eat the apricot. That's what it's there for. We've got the fig jam and the apricot to provide some relief between all the saltiness and spiciness of everything else we've got. And then the dark brown meat, everybody, got to get into this. It's called Bresaola. Looks like Bresaola. People say Bresaola. Italians say Bresaola. It is cured beef, and it's really rare that we get cured beef. We normally get pork salami. So beef salami is Bresaola, and it's really lean. It's like warm and fuzzy and nice beef jerky. Easier to eat, not so hard on your teeth. That is your cheese plate to be chilling with while we're grilling. So let's let the grilling commence. The Camembert, I think, is ready to go on the grill, because like I said, that's going to take the longest. So I'm going to take my box that has been soaking, and I'm going to just shove my foil, my Camembert in its wrap, into the box, nice and tight, okay? I like to put the lid back on because I want to get the char on the lid too. So we're going to go like this. It's a little damp, really good to go. I'm going to start it. I've done the grill. We've got a gas grill. I've done one side on, the other side off, and that's called indirect heat. So I'm going to put this for now on the side that is off, because I just want to start it to get melty. When we're kind of ready and we think it's all melted, then I'm going to move it over to the heat, the direct heat, to give it the flames, to get it some char on the box. That makes it look really cool when you put it on the plate. But that's going to take a little while, because that's a big piece of cheese. In the meantime, we're going to make something called halloumi. So halloumi is almost like a really tough mozzarella. It's kind of made in the same fashion. It's a pasta filata cheese. It's curd that is stretched and pulled that gives it that elasticity, and it gives it that squeakiness. I don't know if any of you noticed, like when I cut my little halloumi steaks, I'm going to call them, they squeaked. And that squeak is typical of curd, cheese curd. And that stretch and that curdiness, the way they make it, makes it so this will not melt. This is a great meat replacement. It came from originally the island of Cyprus in Greece, typically made of sheep milk, sometimes goat, sometimes a mix of both, sometimes all three. But sheep and goat are what you're going to see most often with halloumi, and it truly is the cooking, grilling cheese. This thing won't melt unless you get to an extremely high temperature, and then it might. But throwing it on the grill, literally all we're going to do is throw it on the grill. You don't need to oil it. You don't need to do anything else with it, but put it on the grill. I love this one in a fry pan too. You don't want to grill, you've just got a pan. You can chop it up into little bits, toss it in there with your favorite vegetables, meats, anything like that, and fry it up. It's almost like an Indian paneer that you'll find in Indian dishes. Same concept of a cheese, won't melt, keeps it warm, gives you that bright salty punch when you're eating. Halloumi does the same. Really, really great cheese. I like to cut it kind of thick because I don't want it to melt all the way. I want to have that crunchy exterior and then still a gooey interior. So from the little 8-ounce pack they typically come with, If you can see, oh, my little popper pot. I don't know what's happened here. We won't be using that. I've never seen that happen before, but okay. What was I saying? Oh, so I like it a little thick, crunchy on the outside, and I want to get the cool grill marks. I might not be hot enough. I got it kind of at a medium high heat. But you could use this as a replacement for meat in a burger. Put it between some buns. You've got yourself a little cheeseburger. So that is halloumi. I'm gonna let that one turn a little. And as you can see, getting a little char on it. You could drizzle it with a little olive oil if you like, of course. But what you're gonna see is that it's getting nice and gooey. So we're gonna let that sit for a minute. And if there's any questions, everybody, we do have chat open. And if you are a YouTube subscriber, you can chat. So if you've got some question, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer because I've got my little assistant here who will help me out. Okay, so that is halloumi. I don't know what else really to tell you about that cheese. You can eat it plain, raw, not grilled or cooked. All it really tastes like is really a salt bomb. So I highly recommend heating it up. That's when it tastes its finest. Okay, so we're gonna let that one go for a minute. Then we're gonna jump to Red Dragon, was the other cheese that was in the kit. This one, red wax on the outside, hence the name Red Dragon. And inside, wow, this cheese is amazing. It is from Wales. It's a Welsh cheese. It's a double cream cheddar. It just means that they've added extra cream when they're making the cheddar, which gives it that real softness to it. And then what you see inside, whole mustard seeds. And they've also blended in some ale, because who wouldn't? We're talking Wales, Ireland. They're always going to use ale in beers. So that's blended in here too to give you this really soft, unctuous cheese. And whenever I think of Red Dragon, I think of the dish called Welsh rarebit, if you've ever heard of that. And typically it's made in a pan inside, but we're in California. We need to be grilling. So we're going to kind of do a variation of rarebit using this cheese that has all the rarebit ingredients in it already and toss it on the grill. So what I like to use is just your favorite piece of bread, but I like it to be cut a little thick. If you put a really thin slice of bread on there, obviously that's going to cook really fast before the cheese has a chance to melt. So the key is kind of a thicker slice of bread. So if you like to put a little butter on it, olive oil, you certainly can do that. You can oil the grill so that it gets a little more oiliness and char on it. You don't have to. But then really to make this rarebit, all I'm going to do is top my bread with the Red Dragon, which like I said, has the ingredients already in it, which is mustard, an ale, mustard seed, and the cheese, of course, the cheddar cheese. And I'm going to top it kind of full because I want a lot of cheese and I want it to melt over the edges. Okay, so this is going to get ready to go on the grill, and I'm going to put this over. I'm going to do it indirect heat to start again, just because I want to get it a little warm and softened before I finish it. Once the cheese is sort of melted, then we'll put it over here. I'm going to check on the Camembert. He's not doing anything right now. I'm moving him to some direct heat. Okay. And I'm going to move this too over to the heat because I want to get it charred because it's going to be good for plating later. Let's go check on our halloumi in the meantime. So they're grilling good. Yep, getting a little more char on it. Just I think a little higher heat. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you know when you order a pizza and the cheese runs off and burns on the edges, that's what I'm starting to get on the edges of the halloumi, and that's what I think you want to see. That's when you know it's getting done really, really good. Okay? For halloumi. And look at my Camembert box. Yeah.
The question, did they get halloumi? They did not.
Yes.
Oh, there was a question. So talk
yes,
about
if you bought the full kit, some people just bought the plate. There was a question if you got the halloumi. Some people just bought the plate, but if you bought the full kit, you should have gotten the Camembert, the halloumi, and the Red Dragon. And if you didn't, let me know. We will take care of you, but you should have gotten all three. You can get halloumi, you guys. We carry halloumi during the summertime, but this is a staple that you can get at Vaughn's. I mean, really, it's you can get at Sprouts, Whole Foods. Everybody carries halloumi. So this isn't an elusive cheese. It's just a delicious grilling cheese. Before the question, did you see what happened to the other part of my box? My presentation is spoiled. So I'm not going to get the char that I wanted for you all, but we'll see if the bottom does it. Okay. So, away we go. This is starting to melt. I'm going to check on this, get it a little more heat. Yeah, I'm getting it good there. Okay, folks. So, Camembert is still cooking away, but I'm going to show you a trick that I hope works because so far a few things haven't worked, but I'm hoping this one does. This is a Greek tradition. You might have heard of a dish called Saganaki. We're going to try this now. Do we have a fire extinguisher on hand? Because in case this doesn't work, it's been nice knowing you all. We're going to do what a lot of people do with feta or halloumi and make something called Saganaki. So I think these are done. And I don't know if you can just tell, it just looks like a grilled, I don't know, a grilled piece of fish. But it's perfect. You could eat it just like this. Drizzle on some olive oil, pepper, lemon. Perfectly good to eat as is. I want to do, like I said, something called Saganaki. We're going to give it a try. What is Saganaki, you say? It simply is the grilled halloumi, and I will hold up again what we're doing next, and a little bit of brandy drizzled on the top. And you can use, now for true Saganaki, they don't use brandy, they use ouzo, which is the Greek liqueur that's famous. Everybody has their liqueur, right? Italians have grappa, they have ouzo. So if you want to be Greek, go with the ouzo. But I'm doing brandy, it's a cherry brandy, and Saganaki is lighting it on fire. Let's see if this works. Ready, everyone? Oh, come on. Oh, come on, something work for me, please. No! Let me try one more time. A little more brandy. Please hold. I was so anxious for this to just burst into flames. Let's see if it does. How much proof do I need? It's flaming a little bit. I don't know if everybody can see the flame. It is there. If it goes into flames, which it should, and it'd be so awesome, and goes high flames, you yell "Opa," which is a celebratory term for, I guess, let's eat. So, it's still flaming. So I'm burning off the alcohol right now in my pan. You can't quite see it past the rim. You can do this on a plate. Maybe you would see the flames a little bit better, but you can light your halloumi on fire. Okay, so that's really cool. Let's check in on our Camembert. Oh yeah, it's getting good here. It's getting good there. Now I'm going to put everything over the direct heat. And just to make it go a little faster, I'm going to shut the grill. And we do have another question. And the question is,
Any suggestions for vegetable pairings that would be amazing with grilling cheese?
yes, okay, vegetable pairings. Right now, zucchinis, squash, awesome with the cheese. Also eggplant. An eggplant takes to a grill really well. I think it's the easiest way to cook an eggplant personally. So eggplant with the halloumi is phenomenal. Great, great veggie. I also like artichokes. And I'm going to give a shout out to our friends at Specialty Produce who sell whole artichoke hearts, you guys, already cleaned. All of the rigmarole is off of them. And you can just toss them on the grill, just like we did here. They're in the frozen section. Specialty Produce, try that. Also good vegetable with it. Those are kind of my favorites. You could obviously do Brussels sprouts. You could do anything you kind of wish, but those are my favorites. I also love having like a halloumi steak. And if you just braise some spinach, wilted greens, and throw those on top because those are so good. Also with lemon, because lemon with all of that goes really, really well. Those are my top favorites, vegetables with all of this. Okay, we're gonna go back now and check and see how our rarebit is melting. I put a pile of cheese on it, but it finally is. And look at this. This is why this is fun to throw your Camembert lid on the grill, because when we're gonna put it on the plate, this is gonna be our little showcase piece. So I will move it right here. Okay. For when we showcase. I'm gonna put it on this one. Okay. So there we have it. The first time we had this, everybody, we were actually in Jamaica and at a little beach resort, and there they were with their little box of Camembert and threw it on the fire, and we just ate right out of the box and dipped right in. So that's what we're going to do today. I don't know if can you see this on the screen. My little rarebit is starting to melt, and the toast is getting toasty. So I'm going to move it a little bit off the direct heat. I don't want it to be completely charred and blackened. I'm going to let it melt for one more minute. Rarebit, when you do it on the stove, you actually make a cheese sauce and you pour it over the toasted bread, or you can put it in the broiler, let it melt that way. But one of the key finishing ingredients for rarebit is, I'm gonna get it right now, Worcester sauce. And we all know that it looks like it says Worcestershire sauce, but I believe, someone can correct me, Worcester sauce is the correct pronunciation for this. So that is the topping ingredient for our now melty, I'm going to take off, rarebit. This is the simplest way to make this dish. And what I'm going to do now is top it with some of the Worcestershire sauce. Okay, that's going to just give it a little more zip and zing and give it the finish that rarebit deserves. Moisten the bread a little bit, and I'm going to move that off. And kind of there you have it, you guys. I'm going to try to tip it over. I've got grill marks on the bottom. You can see that. And it's ready to eat. You want to try this, cameraman? I'm going to just send it your way. You want to give it a try. It can't be easier version than this because like I said, all the ingredients essentially are in the cheese. So camping, whatever, what do we think? Good?
Wow.
We got a wow from the cameraman. I can't wait to eat this myself. But first, I'm going to go back to the Camembert. Let's see how that one's doing, that puppy. I can already tell, oh yeah, it's nice and melty. It's really soft. That's how you can tell it's done. We are ready. So normally I would just set the whole box on my plate here. Since our box exploded, we're gonna do it this way. And let me do an unveiling of our grilled Camembert. And let's see what we think inside. Oh yes, there you have it. And it is hot and ready. This is something you want to dig into right away. You have crackers, use crackers. You have baguette, which is what I have. You could use a baguette. Let's see if I can do this without sliding off the top. There's a little bit on there. It's just ready to go. This could use another couple seconds to get really melty. Just kind of want to give you the gist of what it takes to grill a cheese. So I'm going to put this back on. And if there are no more questions, I'm going to let you get to Grillin and more Chillin. And hope you enjoy your cheese. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you. Bye.